your powder dry, folks. All right, we're on. Good evening, everybody. How we doing?
We're doing good. I want Vance got to move more because I don't want you to look like you're glitching.
He's glitching. Hey, it's gonna be a little bit of a delay over there, guys, on Rumble because I had the wrong template queued up, but I believe I got it fixed now. So we should.
This whole technology thing, we'll get it sooner or later. There we go.
Yeah, you know, we've been at it, almost 2 years.
Hey, we're almost to 100 episodes. Come on.
I know. Cool. Hey, speaking of that, we haven't decided how we're going to do it, but tune in on our 100th episode, guys. We do have a gift certificate for Bloodline Kinetics, one of our newer, not the newest anymore because we gained another one here, but one of our newer sponsors. So we are going to have a gift certificate. It's good for, I believe, a rethreading. I think like 125. I got to look at the whole thing, but that will be coming from Bloodline Kinetics, courtesy of our sponsor, Bloodline. So we want to thank Jacob over there because we can't do it without our great sponsors, and kind of sounds like our ARs might be done this week. So stay tuned. Yeah. So tune in on our 100th episode. We're definitely going to give that away. We got to decide how we're going to do it. We need to discuss that maybe afterwards.
In one of our production meetings.
Yeah, our production meetings.
Hey, Eric.
What's that?
Sounds so professional.
Oh, yeah. One shot. Good to see you, Eric. Good to have you on. Josh, he is joining in. Good to have all you guys over there. I haven't checked my Rumble to see if it finally connected there. We're live over on Rumble now, so apologies, but we got it up and running over there and got a couple of them. I haven't checked out Twitch. We got one on Twitch. Look at that. Cool. Good old Twitch.
We'll take it. Hey, we'll take it. Doesn't matter where you come from. Well, speaking of that, of course, we are a Second Amendment podcast, but at the same time, we've got a lot of anti-gunners out there that for YouTube and different things. And so one of the things we want to bring up tonight is that they
we got one thing we got to do first, though.
Oh, yep. Sorry. Go ahead.
You know me. It's the Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There we go. Let's start every show like that.
Now we can talk about
Can't forget that. I mean, I understand if I'm gone and you forget because, you're not seasoned like me.
Yeah, no. Speaking of seasoned, by the way, it's National Jerky Day, right?
It's National Jerky Day today?
It's National Jerky
I wouldn't Google that.
Well, I wouldn't know.
Jerky was, they said, created for the poor man to have meat, a meat supply of meat, right? You'd be able to go out there and work and have it in your pocket and be able to eat. You tell me how in the world a poor man's going to afford $14 for 5 pieces of thin-ass jerky. And I mean,
although they've been, jerkying meat since the dawn of time. I mean, really. I mean, that was a staple when guys were traveling all over the country here. But Jamie's joining us in, it looks like, from YouTube. Good to see you, Jamie. 701 Nation. Speaking of that, Jamie, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong or not, Jamie, I think it's tomorrow night you're planning to be on with Wyatt Franzen. And you guys are going to be doing some reviews of UTVs, or as the next generation likes to call them side-by-sides. I grew up when they were called a UTV, a utility.
I grew up when they were called three-wheelers.
Three-wheelers, Honda Big Reds. Hell yeah. I remember those two vans.
Well, I remember three-wheelers too, but it was really a four-wheeler, but we always ended up losing a wheel, and we all had to lean one direction.
You forgot Lug Nut Day, didn't you?
Lug
you
Nut
didn't
Day.
run white.
There you go.
So, but anyway, like I said, Jamie's going to be coming on tomorrow night, same place, right here where you're watching us at 7 o'clock, Mountain Time, 8 o'clock.
He had a good show about the guy hunting the bear the other day too. That was a very enjoyable show. So.
I didn't get to catch it all live. I caught the replay. Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. Bear hunting's fun. I've been on bear hunting a couple times. Both up in Minnesota. So that was different up there. And I went with Chris. You guys might know Johnson, right? We had some fun up there. And what I liked about bears, they don't get up early either. So that was good with me.
That works out. I worry about bears, but it's a different story. So.
Yeah, well, I think we've told that story. Yeah, Mike, he thought there was some bears up there at Fort Peck. I don't know who gave him that idea.
Oh, well.
We'll have to let him tell that full story someday. But anyway,
We'll
all right, Mike. Now, after I interrupted you,
No.
I know we were going to go to something. So why don't we go ahead and go with that?
Well, first off, let's go ahead and start off with the North Dakota stuff we've got.
Okay,
First,
we can do that.
we have the elections the other day, and so you know more now. I want to go on once you go through some of the candidates that did well and did not.
Yeah, it was primary day right here in North Dakota, and some very disappointed people. I know last night, and especially those that were in Rick Becker's camp, they were pretty disappointed. But it honestly, and I don't even know how to say this, it didn't surprise me because I've been in this game a long time, and I started looking at different numbers and different polling. Other than I don't know what they were looking at, to be honest, if anything. I think they got wrapped up in the younger crowd is helping him run his campaign, and that's fine. But you can't run a campaign with social media and flyers and emails. It's you got to get out there door to door when you're in a tight campaign. It's that simple, and you probably got to do it yourself if you're the candidate. Now, granted, a statewide election, you're not going to be able to be everywhere. But I crunched some data last night later, just looking at what happened, and two things. I think they underestimated Kara Mund, very much so, and she took 20%, and that's what the polls I was seeing, she was actually in that 15 to 20%. I know some of the other polls didn't show her at that, but she truly was, which tells me a couple things. You've got a lot of people that younger people that probably went for. Now remember, she's pro-abortion as far as I'm concerned. They all say they're not, but she is. And she was Miss North Dakota and was in the Miss America pageant. Did she even win it? I don't even remember. I don't pay attention to that crap. So she already had a name there, and of course her advertising. She never missed an opportunity to let us know she's Harvard educated. Like I care, but but she did appeal to that 20%, and she is, I would say, she's center left at the best, and she might even be farther left than we know.
What's wrong?
What's that?
What's wrong with the Bisons? Why can't you guys stay in North Dakota and go to your universities? I mean, they're nice universities.
Yeah. Well, she's got family out there in D.C. and all over. So she's North Dakota, but not really. She left a long time ago and went, and that's fine. But until she wanted to come back and run, the first time she ran as an independent, then she ran in the Republican Party. She's not a Republican. We don't have registration here, which I'm an advocate for. It's the only state in the union don't. I think that would help tremendously in our primaries. Some think that we don't need a primary. I disagree. I like primaries, but they need to be for your party, not this crap that you can come in and you're not registered. All you got to do is show your ID and prove you're a citizen of the state of North Dakota, and you can vote. Now, in North Dakota, they hand you a ballot. So when you see your ballot, it's going to come with all the candidates, and then it's listed under the parties that they're affiliated with, whether it's Republican or whether it's Democrat or whether it's independent or libertarian or whatever it might be. And you have to vote. Now, you can't vote in multiple parties. Right. So if you're going to vote for a Republican candidate, you have to vote the entire way in that primary. You can't cross over and vote in the other parts. And people still do it, and then they get thrown out. But I think it's a dumb system. I think you've got to have voter registration for a lot of different reasons. You at least then know who your party members probably are that are not paying members of the NDGOP. There's a lot. I mean, we see that in every state. A lot of people are Republicans. They register as Republicans, but they're not members of the national or of the state party. And that's the only thing we have to go on. And you're looking at what, 12 to 1,500 people. That's it. And maybe 2,000. Out of what, 594,000 registered voters or not registered, I say eligible voters in the state. So it is a problem. We need to have registration. It gives you a complete database then so that you can go secure your base and you don't have to go around fighting and shoring that up is hard. I liked it when we were working on the South Dakota campaigns. It made my job a hell of a lot easier. There's no doubt about it. But I think there was a lot of things to consider. Plus, I looked at the western part of North Dakota, and it was pretty damn consistent, and it followed what the state trend was, even county by county with the loss for Rick, unfortunately. And I think that's because he didn't probably spend enough time in the western part of the state. especially being the other side, was telling everybody how he hated ranchers and he hated farming because he didn't support this or he didn't support that. And they took these little excerpts from when he ran against Hovind and just ran with it on TV and ran with it on radio. Negative ads work. That's why people do them.
Yeah.
And I know people always say, "Oh, I hate hearing them." Well, you know,
But they work.
they work. That's why they do it. That's why they do it. Okay. DJ says the evening feed on Fascist-book wouldn't load. That's interesting. Hey, Jamie, if you heard that, maybe go check out Fascist-book and see if it's feeding there. I have no clue if it's not, why it's not. I'm looking right now, and it says it is. Oh, it says sending data. For some reason, all the Facebook things are just sending data. That means we are not connected there for some reason tonight. And I can't tell you why. Hopefully nobody. The biggest thing that happens with that is if I don't know if Jamie changed any passwords or emails. If that's the case, but it looks like they're all that way. So there's a different problem going on. Maybe Fascist-book nixed us. Who knows?
Yeah, it's a possibility. I mean, we deal with it every week on one side or the other. We'll go over the YouTube thing here in a little bit too.
Yeah. So guys, if you are not catching us and you're not seeing us on Fascist-book, just you know how to do this. If you're go to a website, or you can go ahead and hit us at Rumble, or you can do it right here at YouTube, and Twitter and Twitch. Don't forget, we got Twitch.
Twitch, and they say it's really clear on Twitch.
It is very clear on Twitch. I've actually looked at it myself, so I see people are migrating. Twitter, don't forget, we got Twitter. It's actually on Twitter. I see it right now. G&T701 is connected, so we do have other outlets. So I'm glad to have you over, DJ, on a different platform. You can't keep us down, right? Can't keep us down. Josh P says, "Hey, I hate hearing why I shouldn't vote for one's opponent. I'd rather hear why I should vote." I absolutely agree, Josh. For me, it's pretty easy. I have it figured out long before I even get my ballot. I might even know some of the candidates personally a lot of times, but I'm connected to that world pretty hard. So I look at their records. The records say everything. That's why I was a Rick Becker supporter and backed him 100% because I knew what his record was. Alex Balez, we had on this show a couple times. I liked what he had to say, but he had no record. And when it comes down to a record, no record, guess what I'm going with? You know, I'm not a big gambler. You know that, Vance. So I'm going to go with the for sure thing. And I knew what Rick would do if he got there. And I knew that Julie, the Barbie doll queen, I know what she's going to do. She's going to be an establishment crony and absolutely serve us in very little capacity other than to make things worse, especially the deficit. So Eric says, CommieTube is also having issues. I tried to put up a post before the show and it wouldn't post it. It won't when we're not live. You can't post actually till it actually goes live, from what I understand. We've had people ask that before. DJ says, I thought the gal that beat Rick stepped down. No, she went here, and I don't know who put that out. It was not the Becker camp. I can tell you that for a fact. But it went out on a text or something. And what it was a replay from the state convention where she did bow out because the votes were not going to go her way. So she bowed out for the endorsement. And then that's when Alex Balez actually got the endorsement. But it was not... she did not bow out of the race. But yeah, that was going around.
Media, you really got to watch it because no matter where you are in the country, there's people use stuff like that, and we're getting much more savvy with it, using it to go and throw stuff like that for any candidate. Yep. And you've got to be able to disseminate between what's real and what's not. You can't just share and post and everything. You've got to know what you're looking at. There's so much stuff that is just it's just fake.
And with Julie Feder, I don't even know how to pronounce her name because I don't care. I never voted for her and never will. I'll probably be forced to now. But I can tell you right now, it was a loss for the Second Amendment as far as I'm concerned this time around. Kelly Armstrong, our rep currently, is a very, very strident Second Amendment supporter. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind where he stands on that. And he's got the record to prove it. Julie, when I seen her in our District 31 meeting when she was running as a public utilities commissioner, she basically asked me, well, what's that got to do with this office? I said, every office is a Second Amendment office anymore. Yeah. It tells me what your ideology is. and she really didn't. She had no clue what it was about. She failed the test when I asked her how many amendments were in the Bill of Rights, and that should have been an easy one. Everyone knows that's the first 10. The first 10 are the Bill of Rights. If you don't know that, don't run for office. As far as I'm concerned, you better know that, especially if you're running for a federal office. And she didn't really think that ARs were necessary. Couldn't hunt with them. Well, yeah, oh, really? I said,
Really?
a lot of people hunt with them. So she failed just in my brief conversation. She finally walked away because she didn't want to hear this. She didn't know. And I knew it because she was telling us how she was a big conservative and she supported this. And she even mentioned that in her speech, big supporter of gun rights. No, she's not. It was just a statement for her to say because she knows it's popular amongst conservatives. But she didn't know a damn thing about the Second Amendment. So I got zero confidence in her.
A lot of them nowadays, just to try to get the ear of us conservatives, will say that they support the Second Amendment and our right to own guns with restrictions.
Yeah.
Well, those ones that say, "Oh, I grew up hunting," but you don't need anything more than a 3-round bolt-action rifle.
Yeah, and I always ask them where that word "need," those 4 letters, where do they appear in the Second Amendment? It's not one of the 27 words that I know of. Actually, it's not anywhere. It's not the Bill of Need.
We could split. I like that. We could split off.
My new need.
Yeah. We could split off and actually call a certain part of the Republican Party the caveat party. We call them rhinos, but I mean the caveat party, because that's what they want to do. They always want to carve out and do concessions and whatnot. And what we want is for you to stand up and say, no, there are some things that we are not going to budge on.
You saw this last night in the election. You really did. You still have the old guard establishment guys, which we call rhinos or fake Republican, whatever you want to call them. They always are giving the concessions in the state legislature. I mean, one of them, he voted against the bill that would have protected minors from transgender surgery. Voted against it. Supposedly a conservative Republican. Oh, and he was reelected. Well, is it his fault he was reelected? No, that's the people. And we had a 20% turnout. Now, it was a low turnout. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It was definitely a low turnout at 20. I'm going to see if I can share this with you quick. We'll see if it'll work. Is it there? Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay. Let's make it bigger here. Maybe. All right. So you got 20%, 20.11% turnout statewide out of 594,000 and change voters. That's actually about 10. I think it's 10,000 more than it was last primary season 2 years ago. So, I mean, it did increase. Kevin Kramer was unopposed, as you can see. He got in, 97.7%, and then there was some write-in ballots. We still have that option in North Dakota. Hurricane Katrina, she did win the Democrat nomination for senator, so that'll be fun. She's going to take on Kevin, so that's going to actually be fun to watch Kevin kind of tear her apart because she's crazy, man. That's why we called her Hurricane Katrina. But and then you got Julia Fedorchuk or Fedorchuk. I don't know. I call her Barbie doll because she wore pink and all this crap at the state convention. But as you can see, it was about a 45 to 29. Basically, let's say it's a 16-point gap between her and Rick.
Right.
And that stayed pretty consistent in the western part of North Dakota. So that hurt. Whatever the ads that were running, it hurt. And maybe just not enough attention over in the western part. I don't know, but Kara Munn taking almost 20%, that was a big, big issue. And like I said, what's that say about the Republican Party? Evidently, we have about 20% of our party, or those that voted in this particular primary, that are not really Republican. Because if you vote for Kara Munn, everything she stands for goes against our platform. So, was it crossover votes from Democrats? Could have been. Maybe they were looking to put Julie in there because they thought that that Tygiv or Gravehammer, whatever his name is, he's going to be their candidate. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, there isn't a very big voting block of Democrats anymore in North Dakota, but a lot of them they're there. They just switched over, and we have this generational gap. I mentioned that here a little bit ago. That's problematic. It really is, for a lot of reasons. they are so used to controlling things, and a lot of people are ingrained in voting. Oh, that's the guy I've been voting for. I mean, do you guys remember the movie Undistinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy? The name, he was a nobody. He was a con artist, and the guy died in office, so he got all his campaign stuff and then just shortened the name, and then he had a similar name using his middle name, and he won because of name recognition. Well, that's what we have in North Dakota. Oh, who'd you vote for? Oh, I voted for this guy in the last 10 years. Yeah, well, we'll vote for him again. I mean, we really do have that mentality. And that's more of, I would say that's your 60-year-old plus voting block.
Well, South Dakota had the same thing when Stace Nelson was running, and we're talking about for governor, or was the governor, or no, for the Senate. We had Roundsburg, and and Rounds was running as well, but Roundsburg's name is spelled Ravensborg.
Raven, that's right. It is.
Right.
Yes.
But it sounds like Roundsburg. And that's the whole thing. I think it was to confuse people, to get people to end up, chewing away votes from other candidates and to go to Rounds. And that's been my thoughts on that for a long time. So, I mean, and then they made him AG until he ran somebody over and stuck him in their windshield for a little
guys while. If you lose me, I got my power blinking here, so just to be aware of that you may lose me here for whatever reason.
That's all right. I can always blink. I can blink.
Must be that green energy crap. It's going to give us a rolling blackout. But anyway, so the big news, though, I guess here I give you the downer. Here's the upper. Guns and 701, we endorsed Kelly Armstrong along with. I mean, I'm sure our endorsement had nothing to really do with this, but hey, we were happy to support Kelly.
Right.
And Kelly won his primary very handedly. It wasn't even close. It was actually, I thought it was going to be more like a 60-40, maybe a 65-35, but no, it was 72.76%. And Tammy Miller was the lieutenant governor here. She was Burgum's handpicked person, really. I mean, that's really what that was about. And she got trounced, guys. I mean, 26%. That's what she garnered. And I wouldn't have wanted her either. I mean, she's a Burgum Gates person. I don't want anybody near Burgum and Gates. And it's problematic to know that Trump's even talking about using them somewhere. But so I can tell you right now, Kelly Armstrong is probably going to be the most Second Amendment, supporter as governor that they've ever had in this state. Kelly is a strong advocate of this. I mean, he does not waver. If you've ever watched him in those Judiciary Committee meetings, I mean, the guy is he is the guy you want in your corner when it comes to Second Amendment. And I'm glad to support him on that issue alone. And he's going to make a good governor. And if things work out right, Jamie and I are going to try to even go out and do some shooting with him on a range day one of these days. He wanted to join us on 2A day, but then we had to move it, so it didn't work. But Kelly is that pro-gun. He knows how to use guns. He knows what ARs are. He knows them all. He knows so much about guns. And if you didn't catch it when Jamie had him on, I'm telling you, this governor is probably the first gun guy, true one, that North Dakota's ever had as a governor. So I'm excited about that. Jamie said, he goes, right here, you'll love this. He says, Kelly dominated because of his appearance on Guns into the 701 live stream. You got to know this too. We gave him a koozie. Jamie gave him a koozie, and he was using it last night at his party that he was at, when they were watching. So I thought that was pretty good to see too. Now, North Dakota had other than some other things, we did have what we call our Department of Public Instruction. It's supposedly a nonpartisan deal, and Kirsten Baszler and Jason Heidkamp go on now. It's a nonpartisan, so the top two runners are going on to the general. I'm going to support Jason Heidkamp. I was supporting Jim Bartlett. He's very much a Christian man, an everyday man, but he didn't have much of a campaign, and it shows right here. I imagine if he wouldn't have been in there, his votes would have went to Jason. And his Darko Dragon Nick, that's a whole nother story, but I imagine those votes will disappear too, and most likely, hopefully, they will get behind Jason. We've got to eliminate Kirsten Baszler. She's a whore. She's an abuser. Guys, she's actually had abuse things filed against her by her partner, her living, not even married, just lives with a guy. There's a good precedent. And then she's been picked up for DUI multiple times. Along, her son is following down that same trail. So, not exactly a stable person that you probably want running, your public instruction in the state of North Dakota. I wouldn't want her near my kids.
Mhm.
So, now the relating. This was a measure for the candidate's age limit, and it passed.
Yeah.
60.88% to 39.12. So 60-40. And that was across the board. When I went and looked at most of the counties, that held pretty true across the board. So it was pretty universal. Mike and I were talking a little bit about this before we come on as to why, what caused it. There's a lot of things as to why it could have been. I think more of it has to do with the fact that, we have an incognito. I mean, the guy Biden can't get one thought together, right? So I'm sure that helped it. You got a certain amount of people that want to see the decades-long legislator who's been there 30, 40 years limit out on age and have to step down. And then I think the Democrats, I think they supported it because Democrats like the idea of an open seat and not having to take on a Republican incumbent in the state of North Dakota. So they look at it as an opportunity. So there was probably a lot of different reasons why people support. I voted no. I don't like the idea. Me and Mike had talked about this. I don't know how you think, Vance, but the Constitution doesn't dictate it, and it's a federal office, so therefore I don't support it. And there's a lot of 80-some-year-old men or women, but men that can absolutely do that job. They are sharp as a tack yet. Biden is not one of them. President
Absolutely.
Trump is going to be one of them. The guy's
If they had a
he's
cognitive
sharp.
test, side by side, Biden would look like the vegetable that he is.
I don't know how this debate's even going to take place. I mean, they can try to sugarcoat it all, but I'm telling you, the guy can't even possess a thought independently. They have to edit up his clips just to put it together so they can have a little 5-second bite on the news. I mean, it's bad. So
did you see where Biden's wife made the comment that Trump couldn't put together a sentence?
Yeah, how ridiculous is that? Evidently, she hasn't heard about these little things he does in rallies, and he doesn't use a teleprompter sometimes. I mean, he goes off of that a lot. But I did not support this measure in North Dakota. It did pass. I imagine, just like term limits, remember when that was passed by so many states and then it was found unconstitutional because
It'll be the same way.
Constitution does not set forth a term limit except for the president. And that wasn't, it wasn't always that way. And Roosevelt served 3 terms.
3 terms.
But they did pass that then as a constitutional amendment to our United States Constitution, that 2 terms of 4 years and then you're done. So I did not support it. I didn't like it. I think you're gonna, if you still got all your faculties, why shouldn't you be able to run? That's a right to run, as far as I'm concerned. As long as you meet the age requirements of the Constitution.
We're saying that at a certain age, you're no longer functioning in society. Basically, we're saying is that if you're a certain age, then we're not going to take your wisdom. We're not going to take your years of experience. We know people that are hitting their 80s and like I said, can't form proper sentences or they're stuck in their way or whatever. But we also know a lot of people, either side, that are in their 80s and still function well and run businesses and do all this stuff and do payroll and get all this stuff and have no concept of retirement because they keep themselves busy with everyday work. And you say that at a certain age, I mean, that was arbitrary, 81. I mean,
it was. I think it's something to be left up to the voter, honestly. So I'm going to get to some of these comments here. I've been keeping up on that. I better do that. To Gene Cox, he says, Bill of Needs. It's when we were talking about. Yeah, exactly. It's not the Bill of Needs. DJ Thompson, 3 rounds. I can load 4 in a mag and 1 in a chamber and do 5. So and then David Fetting is with a bunch of dip chits, which, And Gene Cox, he's talking about how'd you pronounce that? I always thought it was Rabbit.
It's Ravensburg. It's Ravensburg.
There you go. He was the AG and he got impeached, and I do remember.
But look how it's spelled, and look how it's spelled, and then
Here, it's. You want to see how it's spelled, everybody? There it is. For our podcast listeners, it's Ravansborg, and it's rounds board.
So you had rounds running at the same time. So somebody who's voting who probably isn't very sharp gets in there and thinks they're going to vote for Roundsburg, and they see rounds and they type the rounds in. And so, I mean, I thought it was a setup thing from the beginning. Stace Nelson, of course, got the shaft on that one. Also had that doctor from Sioux Falls that was in there as well that apparently was signing affidavits and whatnot while she was out of the country. But, it's just, you just go crazy stuff. And yet we allow this stuff to happen, and we let people, they throw people in here to run to take away votes from good candidates.
Oh, yeah.
And they do it all the time.
Well, Josh, he says Baszler is a basket case and not sure how she keeps getting reelected. I'm not either, Josh. I have no clue why people keep voting for her. She's a lib on top of it. And she always was asked for the Republican letter of support, which never made sense to me. I worked with her ex-husband years ago, and he said she's batshit crazy. And that is not the first time I've heard that about her. And she kind of seems that way if you've ever been around her. I think she's an unstable person, honestly.
I meet a lot of dumb people that will vote for somebody because they're pretty. I mean, when it comes to females,
we had it happen in South Dakota. Do you remember?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
What the heck was her name? Stephanie Herseth. She got elected in South Dakota to Congress because she was a fairly attractive woman. That was. I had guys tell me, "I'm voting for her because she's hot." And I'm like, she ain't that hot.
But I mean, even if
it's not that hard to look at.
Right, but I mean, even on that,
That's a saddle, okay.
So what if she's hot? She ain't going out with you. So how stupid are you that you threw away a vote for somebody because you have this fantasy in your head that you're going to maybe, Heitkamp. Yeah.
So Lynette asked this. She says, "Is Heitkamp related to the Democrat?" No, he's not. That I know, not in that capacity. I know Jason. He's definitely not a liberal. That's for sure. So I'm going to get behind Jason. I would really encourage everybody else to. We have got to try and get Baszler out of there. Josh chimed back in. Yeah, he says she is a very unstable person, and that's my impression of her too. Doug, hey, Lauer Auto Repair, and Axie says, "What happened to term limits we passed 2 years ago?" That's for the legislatures. That's very true, legislators. And I thought that was good enough too. I really did. Now, I got to go read this measure more in depth. I don't know if it goes into effect immediately, because when we did the term limits, what that did was it was not retroactive. So it reset really. So from the day that went into effect 2 years ago, essentially, that's where they're 16 years. So we're still stuck with these people for 16 years. So it didn't really accomplish much, which is why I did not support that particular term limit deal, because I wanted it retroactive. If they'd been there 16 years, they'd get to finish out one more term and they're done.
Right.
It didn't accomplish anything. But I know how this goes too. It's what you can pass. Sometimes you have to take. We did it all the time with gun legislation. It's not what you want; it's what you can pass, and you work on it from there.
All right.
Well, that's just good. That's great to know. I'll vote for Jason. I appreciate that, Lynette, because I'm telling you, he is a conservative. Sometimes he's a little bit out there. Jason's a different guy, but not a different bad. So, and he's definitely going to be better than Kirsten Baszler, for sure. Jason can be his own worst enemy and say really, really stupid things, but trust me, he's much better than Kirsten, because he's not unstable like her. So
one of the things that we had on Becker when he was on, and he says, "I'll throw 100% of these bills up there to get passed, and I might get 25% of them passed, but that's what I'll do, because that's better than most people that are there and running and stuff. They might throw a bill once or tag themselves into a bill, but they don't ever do anything except get in front of cameras spouting off. But they never actually do anything in the halls of power. So, and it says, if I get 25% done this year, that's great. I move forward and try to advance another 100. And if I get 25 on that, I'm still advancing. And advancement is what you're supposed to do. So, yeah. And
with that, we'll pick up. And this seems like everyone seems like they're pretty involved in being part of this. So we'll pick this up. But let's take our first break. We're already half past the hour. So let's do our first break and thank our top two sponsors. And then we'll be right back with some more discussion on primaries.
There we go.
I'm from the It's Foot Bandit.
Brother. Hey, can you get my demo tape to somebody?
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota. Give them a call at 701-258-6308. The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308. 701-258-6308. Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Experience the exhilaration of power in your hands at Bloodline Kinetics. Why Cerakote? Simply, it aids in firearm preservation while also giving your piece a unique look. Barrel threading, NFA laser engraving, bolt handle threading, mount, level, and bore, sight scope chamber rebarreling, and much more. Bloodline Kinetics is meant to reflect a long American lineage in gun ownership, who stand for the Second Amendment rights, Bloodline, and the science behind gun accuracy. Kinetics. To some, it's just a constitutional right that can go away. To us, it's in our American bloodline, and we believe it should stay that way. Here at Bloodline Kinetics, we understand that hunters, sportsmen, women, and gun owners should have a quality firearm. Stop and see us at 2008 Morrison Avenue 2 in Bismarck, North Dakota, 58504, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 701-390-7997. Visit our website, bloodlinekinetics.com.
All right, and we are back thanks to our great sponsors. So guys, we cannot do this without them, and we're gaining some new sponsors. And when we do all of ours, we'll mention everybody here in about another 15-20 minutes and give them their due diligence because we cannot do it without them. So.
That's right.
So, okay, we got some stuff here. Gene Cox has been chiming in. A lot of people have been chiming in on this. And he said there was some surprises in their primary in South Dakota. I think that was 2 weeks ago. So several of them were surprised when they went down. And we had our victories. Don't get me wrong. Kelly Armstrong, I think it was a big win as far as last night in North Dakota, as far as North Dakota goes, for the Second Amendment. I know some of them legislative races. We up in the Minot area, we swept it with conservative people, which is great. We actually took out some of the probably the worst ones, which was nice to see. We didn't win them all. We definitely didn't. It was a mixed bag. But I think the legislature is going to have a very different landscape. We did lose one guy out of District 8, Brandon Picard, and I actually was shocked that he actually lost. Now, some say he just didn't run much of a campaign. I don't know. I mean, I think he was out there right along Jeff and the rest of them. But anyway, he's not going to be returning. And there was a group up here that ran just the dumbest ads and flyers and postcards in your mailbox, just completely everything out of context. I mean, talk about take things out of context, take little things that a person says and then attack him personally too. So, you know, low information voters buy that crap, guys. I'm sure that you guys have heard that term, a low information voter. And I don't know. I mean, we've been talking North and South Dakota. Do you see this kind of thing down there in Georgia, Vance?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Vance.
My internet's coming and going.
Oh, okay. I mean, Georgia is an important state, and I think in the big scheme of things, as far as presidential elections go, I think this time Trump's going to turn that corner. But I don't know. It kind of depends on whether you guys got your elections fixed down there or not. But
yeah, we'll see about that. I'm pretty disappointed in everything that's been going on down here. Am I still here?
You're still
here.
We got you.
I'll tell you what. I'll just go with Gene Cox. He chimed in on the Senate Bill 201 carbon pipeline bill. He said that didn't set well with some people. That was the one that was, I believe, in South Dakota. It don't set well with people up here either, Gene. And Julie, the one who won our primary last night for the House, she's all in support of it. She thinks it's great. And I do not buy into this idea. If we have to capture carbon because of the Green New Deal, tell the feds to shove it. We are sovereign states, okay? We should do what we want to do. If you want to have an ethanol plant, have an ethanol plant. You don't need the feds to regulate. And that's where when we talk about law enforcement and sheriffs and this whole system that was created so great and we ignore, you arrest them people. If the EPA comes in or a federal guy comes, you have your sheriff arrest them. They can do that. Ask Hardin County. That sheriff knows all about it. You can arrest these people. You take your top law enforcement agent in your county. You got to get a constitutional. Have them arrest the feds. Kick them the hell out of your county and kick them the hell out of your state. Don't take their money. Quit taking federal money. That'll help. Then they don't control you. But if you got to bury carbon, CO2, which is a naturally occurring gas, people, then you have your head examined. If that's the only way to make an ethanol plant viable, then quit making ethanol. Plant that stuff back to feed corn and feed cattle and make some money. If that's the only thing that makes it viable, then maybe we need to quit. Maybe we need to rethink ethanol. I think ethanol is a waste fuel anyway. I don't like it. I don't use it, and I never will.
I think I'm back here.
All right,
Yeah,
good to have you
The
back.
last thing I got was how bad Georgia's voting is. Georgia's voting sucks. It's controlled
Okay.
by Atlanta.
Well, and it's like so many big states that happens.
Yeah. But, y'all know what industry I work in, and I'm around. I go to cities. I was just in LA. I've been to New York numerous times, Chicago, all these big liberal cities. It would shock you. I think I messaged you guys a little bit when I was out there. It would shock you at how many conservatives are in these major liberal cities. I went to a meeting and I was not looking forward to it because honestly, I thought I was going to be surrounded by a bunch of liberal people complaining about me.
Yeah.
Every single one of them in Los Angeles that I was meeting with, every single one of them were very conservative. Could have hung out with our group and talked politics all day long.
That's
But
cool.
the media don't want you to know that.
Oh no, they'll never admit that. Hey, got some listeners actually over here on Rumble, and the one I don't know really who that is, but he says we need to save as many people as possible from you boob and grumble and P-mail, and he's got names for all of them, so he's right. And Facist-book and CommieTube are probably two of the worst. But anyway, just want to let those listeners know we do see your comments. We can't feed them into our feed. I haven't had the time to figure out how to do it. Supposedly you can, but
We had some text there too for asking us if we have Axel's new his new sign out there.
There it is.
Get that in their stuff. So I pulled that up real quick so we could show the Axel's new sign. So yeah, second minute. If you love hunting, guns, and North Dakota, then check us out. Guns701.com. There you go.
Yeah, we appreciate that, and we appreciate Axe letting us get that on there right there. I'm telling you, you can't miss it. Washington, Bowen. I had to make a quick trip up there today, so on my way back home, I flew down that just up. Well, I actually flew up Washington just so I could go see it. So yes, appreciate it, and we hope it brings in some new listeners and a little bit more awareness. So we're always looking to expand and grow this. That's how this is done, and we've come a long ways for. We've really done. That's the first advertising we've really done as far as paid advertising. So, yeah, I'm very pleased. I thought it turned out great. We'll see how it goes. I know we're going to push it though. I'm just looking at some of these others here. Josh said he drove by it and loves it. We have to bring a second here. I got to bring this up here. I'm sorry, I'm kind of off. I was kind of busy today.
That's fine. You're getting your first day of hay, right?
Yeah, that and just a lot of other things going on here. Just trying to look and see. I've seen this comment, but it's not here where I thought it should be. She says, well, we have to bring back Minot and Fargo. I don't know how you can bring them back, Lynette. I think Fargo's lost. I think we ought to just ask Minnesota and petition to take that whole county just annex it into Minnesota and just we'll get rid of it altogether.
That's
That
one
would
way.
solve so many problems.
It's true.
And
That's
I
one
don't
way.
think it's coincidental either that you see the big university towns such as Grand Forks and Fargo, even Minot has, I mean, they have a college up, and that they start going liberal.
Right.
I don't think that's coincidental. And especially when some of those people in like the Fargo area, a lot of people go there and they never leave. They graduate and then they live in Fargo, which then they're indoctrinated, and then it's done. She says, I've been listening to Vivek's podcast, and he interviewed a conservative from LA. She said, what is the RNC doing? Why can't we put up a Republican candidate in blue cities? She feels they gave up. I think in some of them they have. Although, look what Trump did. Trump he had to spend a little time in New York if nobody heard about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what did he do? He campaigned while there, and I think that pissed off the New York establishment elitist
Big
liberals
time.
Yeah.
more than anything, because he had these huge rallies in New York, not just in New York, in New York City. And I thought it was great. I know that the liberal media was trying to make it look like no one showed up, but I watch Real America's Voice or Right Side Broadcasting Network. They'd pan out, and I mean, you're talking tens of thousands of people at these rallies in New York City. So
That's what I was saying. There's more of us in these big cities than
There
than
is.
the media wants you to know.
they're there. We just, unfortunately, they're controlled by the libs as far as their governments go. Unfortunately, so
Well, you see in 2016, I mean, switching over the Rust Belt, you know, and everything, and really going into places that have not been hit by Republicans in decades.
And I think the big telltale will be in November is to watch things come in and see. I don't believe for a minute, especially this time, that someone's going to go into the ballot booth and they're going to vote a Republican ticket, but vote Biden at the top. Are you kidding me?
Mhm.
It's not going to happen. If that happens, we got problems. It's not a. I won't trust. I probably won't ever trust the presidential election again.
I
Because
don't know.
I don't really either, but hopefully it's too big to rig. I know that we've heard that more than once, and I hope that they can't build an algorithm that isn't so obvious. I don't know what they're going to do. But again, getting back, I think it was a win for Second Amendment in North Dakota. I think we got Ben Koppelman got reelected as far as in the primary, and he'll get reelected in the general. Kelly is going to be our next governor. And guys, I'm telling you right now, having a pro Second Amendment governor like Kelly is going to be huge, because I think Kelly, I know Jamie and I have both discussed a little bit there with him. He's all for it, bringing forth Second Amendment legislation, and he'll push it himself.
Right.
So that's a breath of fresh air. We haven't had that. I don't know if North Dakota's ever had that. Yeah, well, they've had governors in the modern times, but they've never been that pro Second Amendment.
No.
So I'm excited to have a pro Second Amendment governor. I think he's going to rival Kristi Noem as far as on the Second Amendment. I know, Mike, you don't like her, and there's plenty of reasons not to like her.
When it goes to the Second
But-
Amendment, I can't say anything wrong against her.
She's solid.
I mean, and that's what I based a lot of my stuff on is Second Amendment can. If you can't pass
I'm
the
with
Second
you.
Amendment test, you're not going to be able to pass anything else for me.
Well, without the Second Amendment, nothing else exists. It's that, and that's getting more prevalent today than ever. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
If we lose our Second Amendment, it's really checkmate. That's the only thing. Everyone says, "Oh, what, you can't do nothing. You know, you can't take on it." Yes, you can. I'm telling you right now. If we lose the Second Amendment, it's done. It's done.
You have no way to protect the rest without it.
And I'm not giving my guns up. I don't care what they do. We will have that battle. I may lose, but I'm not going to bend the knee. I will not live under tyranny. I'd rather fight.
I've talked to you about this before, but you remember that movie? Yeah, it's kind of a crappy movie. It was a zombie movie called World War Z.
Yeah,
It
I
was out
remember
some
you
years
talked about. I never.
Well,
did see it.
I read the book, and the book was written by a guy whose job was at the UN to write scenarios. If X happens, then this will happen, and China will do this, and this country will do this, and he wrote those things. So that's where he got that, is that he wrote the thing for the UN that if a zombie thing did break out, this is what would happen. This country would fall, and this would fall. And one of the things that I found very interesting in his book, because it's not in the movie, is that after the whole thing is over and the new semblance of a country is coming back, they still don't have South and North Dakota on the western side because they were abandoned when everything fell to crap, and they decided to take it and do everything themselves and defend themselves. And then when the government wanted to come back in, they were like, "No thanks,
No, we don't need you."
And I said, and see that shows me that that's what's written in these manuals out there, what's going to fall, what's going to happen, who's going to take over this and that and that. And that's the way they see us out here, because that's the way it is. Because, you know, if the government is abandoning us and we don't need them, I mean, we don't necessarily need them. Yeah, don't take their money. I'll tell you what, I've said it before about the national side is cut off all financial aid to all other countries for 3 months. Let the whole world fall apart.
Yeah.
And just to show everybody, don't talk shit about us anymore, because once you don't have our teat to go to, your asses in your little junta countries and all that with all these dictators and all are all going to fall apart, and the people are going to eat you. And It says, you need us, we don't need you. Same thing for Mexico. You're right, Clay, many times. Put a 1 mile border down there. Anything crosses over that border gets shot.
Kill. That's right.
You know what? Do it for 3 months, stuff will stop. And that's just the way
I
By the way,
guarantee
imagine
you,
all the things we could do if we did what Mike said and cut off that funding to those other countries.
Oh,
could you imagine what we could do for our veterans and our infrastructure? And not only that, Mike, but how about cutting off funding to all these alphabet organizations that we absolutely do not need? We could cut our government in less than half and be a thriving society again.
Well, first of all, we need to, yeah, I agree. Get rid of all this stuff and quit funding things that make zero sense, like you're talking about. Then take that funding, pay down our debt, for Christ's sakes. We are on the verge of going broke. When you surpass your gross domestic product, you're in trouble. And we're on that, guys. We're on it right now. The interest now is the biggest thing we have as a liability. The only thing second to it is Social Security. That's in our expenditures. The interest on our debt now is number one. Not good. That's not. How would you like that if that's your biggest problem in your household budget, that you're paying? That's your number one expenditure. You have a problem with money.
Big time.
And we've got people like that. But our government runs that way. This is insane. That way. And that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But I want to get back here to a couple of these comments. I just seen this one. Gene says, there was Nazis in Pierre and Deadwood this past weekend. I did not hear about that.
Now, if you didn't hear about this, now they were all in masks and everything else. And my personal thing is like, I know that we have a lot of men and women in South Dakota and North Dakota that have big snowplows. Could have taken care of that problem real quick. Wouldn't have to worry. Wouldn't be like anything like in the 40s. No. Where it took a contraction effort to take out the Nazis. Just a couple of snowplows and some good running speed would have been fine for that, because I have no problem whatsoever if anybody would have gone out there and shot any of those dumbasses, because we beat them once and we're going to beat them again. And I don't need them hitching their wagons to anything that I have going. So, and by the way, the reason why their excuse for having the rally is that it was the day anniversary, or the weekend anniversary, that the USS Liberty was sunk by the Israelis. Now, let me go and tell you, in the fog of war, shit happens. We've got Tillman, the football player that we touted, he was taken down by the Taliban and this and that. And then we found out our own guy shot him. It happens.
Friendly fire is a reality of war.
Yeah, it's a reality of war. You put a bunch of ships out in the middle of the sea and somebody's transponder's not working properly. And this is back before we had all the technical stuff we got now. Things happen, and they can still happen today. I mean, there's all kinds of shit that can happen. So I'm a little cursy today. I got to watch
that. Okay.
But
what's in that mug, Mark?
I actually found some alcohol of moonshiny extremes.
I'm proud. I've got my Lauer Auto Repair mug, but mine is just water tonight. I can honestly say we all match. There you go, Doug. Speaking of that, we're coming up on the top of the hour, so I say let's just wrap this up quick. I think we beat this horse to death. Yeah. Overall, I think the North Dakota primary went well as far as for the Second Amendment. As far as replacing some of the long-term rhino establishments, it was not a great night. It was about a mixed bag of 50-50. You win some, you lose some. Some of the things I'm involved with, some of the people were first-timers, and they were devastated, guys. And I'm like, it's an election. You win some, you lose some.
You win some, you lose some.
But, when you take brand new people who are fired up and they just were so sure of themselves, and I was like, guys, the numbers don't say it. I'm a numbers guy. How many times do you ever hear me say that?
Yeah.
I crunched the numbers. And unfortunately, the numbers told me exactly what we saw last night. And I'm not the only one. Even on the other side, they were saying that. And a lot of people don't like the morning show on KFYR anymore since they replaced Daryl. But as far as the numbers went, I don't agree with a lot of what that guy said this morning. But the numbers tell the story. And that is what the numbers were saying going into the primary. They didn't change much. They really didn't. And it's unfortunate. The only thing that changed was Kara Munn. Actually, you want to look at the bright star. I hate to say this. She outperformed way better than anyone thought she'd do. So that's bad for us. Good for her. But she did. She outperformed more than what anybody thought she would do. So grabbing 20% of the vote in a Republican primary, and she's not a Republican, everybody knows it, that's bad for us.
Bad news.
So overall, we got a great governor that's going to take the helm here in North Dakota. I guess we're going to have to deal with what we got with Julie. I imagine I'm not voting for the Democrat. I can tell you that. So I will probably vote for Julie just because I have to. I'm not voting for that commie Democrat that's running, and that guy is a commie. So that's the way that's going to go. I think we need to work to get voter registration in this state. A lot of people are now saying that we probably should do that. You do have some that want to eliminate the primary. I'm not for that. Let's get voter registration and just let Republicans vote in our primary, period. That solves that problem. So overall, that's my take on it. I think the Second Amendment stayed strong, though. When I looked at the legislative seats that were won and held, the Second Amendment is going to be just fine in North Dakota going into the next session. And I think a bunch of us are going to be active with some new bills with the support of the governor for a change. So that'll be kind of fun.
By the way, I found this real quick before we go on to commercials. We're going to make this my official icon from this point on. Gravy Seal 6 here. I'm loving that. I'm thinking that's me 100%. So I'm really enjoying that one.
Oh, my goodness.
So good one. I'm going to make that my icon somehow.
Gravy meal.
Oh, my goodness. Mike. I'll tell you what, we're right at the top of the hour pretty much now. So let's, this is a good time. Let's go ahead and thank all of our sponsors. And then after that plays, Mike, we'll announce our brand new one. And then we'll go into the last part of the show.
There we go.
I'm from the Athlete's Foot Foundation.
Brother. Hey, can you get my demo tape to somebody?
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota. Give them a call at 701-258-6308. The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308. 701-258-6308. Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Experience the exhilaration of power in your hands at Bloodline Kinetics. Why Cerakote? Simply, it aids in firearm preservation while also giving your piece a unique look. Barrel threading, NFA laser engraving, bolt handle threading, mount, level, and bore, sight scope chamber rebarreling, and much more. Bloodline Kinetics is meant to reflect a long American lineage in gun ownership, who stand for the Second Amendment rights, Bloodline, and the science behind gun accuracy. Kinetics. To some, it's just a constant constitutional right that can go away. To us, it's in our American bloodline, and we believe it should stay that way. Here at Bloodline Kinetics, we understand that hunters, sportsmen, women, and gun owners should have a quality firearm. Stop and see us at 2008 Morrison Avenue 2 in Bismarck, North Dakota, 58504, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 701-390-7997. Visit our website, bloodlinekinetics.com.
Ever tried catching a fish with your bare hands or hunting a deer with a stick? Don't be that guy. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we've got all the hunting and camping gear you need. We're your one-stop shop for outdoor adventure.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Check us out at mandansportinggoods.com, or better yet, stop in to 210 East Main Street, Mandan, North Dakota. Mandan Sporting Goods, where the outdoors meets functionality. Store hours, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Closed Sunday. Take up arms at Mandan Sporting Goods. Your adventure starts here.
All right, we're back. And with that, we have a brand new sponsor to announce here.
Right.
We've been visiting with him, and this is Little Angry Man Arms. He started his business up in 2023. John Rogow is the guy that owns it. He's got a great, just a great collection of things. I think he deals both in probably older and new firearms, doesn't he, Mike? Sounded
Yeah,
like?
yeah, and we're talking about Glocks and we're talking about Rugers and all that, but he's also got a lot of the older stuff too, and he's got a big selection, a huge selection, and also some of the optics as well. As he's got on his site, littleangrymanarms.com. He's out of Trail City, South Dakota, so he's we're proud to announce that we're bringing him in, and so he's glad to be on the show.
Yeah, we appreciate the support from John, and he's definitely on board for the long haul. So glad to have him aboard. We're going to try to get some commercials put together for him. I know we got the audio's worked up. John approved that today, I believe, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He got that all approved, so we got it done for him, right? And
worked on getting an actual commercial put together and have him join it. You'll see his commercials once every show. But again, we want to definitely welcome him to our sponsorship family, I guess you could say, and we're glad to have him on board. Once again, guys, here's his website, and I'm going to give him a little more play because he's brand new. littleangrymanarms.com. So
welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. Absolutely. Oh, look at that. We misspelled that. I just copied it from what you wrote.
Right. Really?
You got man is wrong. It's M-A-N-A. It should be M-A-N in there.
Oh, I took that off his email, and I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay. So anyway, Little Angry Man.
We'll get it right. We can do it the right way. We can show this. So
there we go. There you go. Perfect.
littleangryman.com. There you go.
I like his logo. Gotta love it.
That is a nice logo.
I mean, say it how it is. And then our guy over there on Rumble, he says, "Hey, I got high hopes for this channel." He basically has given us a lot of accolades. He says, "You're talking politics, and I see you're talking politics, not shooting at times. I want to mix them also, but it's a really good idea. But no, other times it's very much needed. I'm going to let go, and I love it. Got high hopes for your channel. I'm just kind of
awesome.
Piece it together." So yeah, we're happy. Appreciate that. And it's the V1IM. Let's find out who he is. Maybe if you want to email me at guns@gunsandthe701.com, and we can visit a little bit. We always love visiting with our viewers and supporters. So, all right. So, coming back, the story we started out, and I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on this because I think everybody kind of knows it. But the YouTube policy, their brand new policy, and they've been, they've given us a community standard mark crap too. All the more reason to go over to Rumble, guys.
Right.
I would love it if we could just not have a YouTube channel, but right now we can't get unfortunately, as much as the people seem to hate YouTube's policies, they still stay there, and so we have to stay there. So
it's like Facebook.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's like another girlfriend. You just can't get rid of it, you know?
Oh, yeah, you can. So they have updated their community guidelines for creators, and I guess that's what we'd be classified as.
Right.
And I do agree that it's probably going to negatively impact gun channels. and limit our reach. We've already seen this on our channel. Me and Jamie we were just talking about this too, Mike. I think we're being shadow banned right now because we see the views not even staying where they were even a month ago. Rumble's on fire, so I'm glad to see everybody over there. We've gained 10 or 11 new subs just here in the last week. So thank you for going over there, and I encourage you. Rumble's not as easy to use. It really isn't. It's getting better, but they're only 2 years old or 3. So
yeah, they're newer.
They're brand new, so they're working it out. Anyway, the new community guidelines, they were announced and they take effect June 18th. So that's coming up here in a few days, 6 days. Anti-gun groups and politicians pressured Google, who now owns it. Isn't that funny? Google owns everything, don't they anymore? It's just Batman Facist-book. They pressured them to implement an updated policy on its video sharing website. It appears now Google has finally relented and changed its policy. New policy doesn't specifically ban any content that wasn't already banned, but it does add an age restriction to certain content. And I've seen that already on our stuff. When we post this stuff, it has it right in there. Is this made for people under the age of 18? I always mark no. I'm just not even going to deal with it right now, even though any of it is. Luckily, my son seems to still be able to access it. But when I had him, I think when he made his account, we give him a birth date that he was over 18. To hell with CommieTube. I don't care. It's not against the law to lie to them. So Jamie says, yes, Rumble needs to get their shit together so people can comment. I agree. They do. And supposedly we can do it. I gotta look more into it. DJ had the big town of Trail City. Yep, Trail City. Don't blink, you'll miss her as you're going by. So, anyway, let's get back to this. Some of the videos that will be age restricted to those over 18 years of age are those that feature 3D printed firearms, homemade suppressors, standard capacity magazines, referred to as large capacity magazines by the new terms.
Yeah, whatever.
Guns equipped with standard capacity magazines. Oh wow. Automatic fire and equipment that simulate automatic fire, bump stocks, trigger cranks, forced reset triggers, and other devices that speed up the rate of firing a gun. I mean, that's what they've got put on there. I mean, it's a whole list of it, and I just think this is bullshit. It is not illegal to make your own gun. Just to be clear, you can build your own gun, people. Okay. Liberals, you can build your own gun. It's not illegal, just so you know that. As far as suppressors go, well, having a homemade suppressor, I don't think you can even have that unless you get your tax stamp and have it serial numbered. But I might be wrong on that. But as far as I know, you can't even have a homemade suppressor unless you register it. Oh, no problem, Vance. Vance says his internet's flickering. They're nixing you. They're going after you, ain't they? But so what this is going to do, though, is you're gonna end up in a different algorithm, is what they call it, the CPM, cost per 1,000 impression rate. Mm-hmm. And with age-restricted videos, you're going to end up you're not going to be seen as much, and that's exact. And I think that maybe that's what they already did. It very much could be that might be what is happening. Oh my goodness, Rustin!
What?
Jerry Mickluck died?
What?
Oh man.
I hope that's.
Well, it probably is true.
Oh man!
Somebody, Mike, you want to search that quick? Let's see what they got on
sure.
him.
I got it.
I like Jerry.
Yeah, great man for the firearms industry, no doubt about it. So I would say that as this goes forth with YouTube, platforms like Rumble, maybe. Oh no, his channel. Oh, so let's see. We had to check that. David said no, his channel's gone.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it scared me like that.
Lead with that.
I took it wrong too right away.
Lead with that.
Yeah, lead with that.
Full auto with his hand and a 6-shooter. But I imagine that, like I said, maybe this will help boost the channels like Rumble. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Right now, I know what we're going to do. We're going to have to abide how we can. I think we are. We don't handle our firearms anymore here, which pisses me off, and that's why. Because we've been nixed a couple times for it. So they can be there. They're behind me. But if you start handling them, oh, my God, I guess that's just craziness. So We'll put up with it. Like we talked about before, when we go do the Mandan sporting shoots or sporting goods store deal when he has his grand opening,
Right.
we're not going to broadcast a Facist-book, and we're not going to broadcast to YouTube when we do that. We're just going to go to the other ones because we want to handle some firearms and do some things, and we're not going to be restricted. So hopefully when we do this, everybody understands that, and you can see us on our website. I don't think, as much as we'd like to take comments, it's going to be pretty tough. Maybe, I think, I don't know. I mean, we've never done a live remote, so I guess we're going to try something new again. So,
well, we have some stuff that we're working on right now for having a phone number. It would be a Google phone numbers to go through our computers that will have a set number that we'll be able to broadcast and be able to go through that. So, and take calls and whatnot.
I wonder, I know
we
we've
did
talked
the
about
hog
this.
hunt play. It worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad doing it the way we did it there. This is going to be a little bit different setting, but well, you know what? We're gonna do it. We'll learn from it. What I'm kind of wondering, Mike, is we should put that number out that you have. Well, maybe we should try it out during one of our live streams. Tell you what, next week, guys, we will try to have this so that you can call that number, and we're going to see if we can feed it into this feed. I think we'll be able to, because it should pop up, I think, on your internet screen, right? We understand it.
Right.
You've got your Google.
Yeah,
you'll be able to answer it, and I think then as with like when we share other things, you hit your share screen and you can share the audio. I think we're going to be able to feed that right into our program. We're going to try it. I mean, people have been asking it. Then you'll be able to call in. That'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, and it should work. I mean, we just have to, kind of do our thing. So,
Looks like Dave upset the gun community.
We got to put this up here now. So, all right. Well, we'll start. He said, no, it's his channel. Doug says, load videos to Pornhub, no rules. Well, it's like, what'd you call it? Fans only?
Only fans. Yeah. I'm telling you, that might be the way for us to do.
That dude shoots like full out. Yep. And Doug's like, yeah, for F's sakes. I agree. Not saying it's a bad idea, talk about the Pornhub, but and he's laughing. It ain't the first time things like that.
The content of our discussions might change.
Yeah.
I mean, we do often talk about
weird
how
trying to
they get
explain to
screwed.
my wife why Guns in the 701 is on Pornhub. Is that what they call it?
No, OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. Okay, whatever.
Well, Pornhub's free, so we could do it on that one. But yeah, we could actually do it on that one. But
can you imagine some poor guy? He hears Guns in the 701, and they're stacked, right? Well, and we're fully loaded. We got magnums. He's gonna be awful disappointed, isn't he?
Or excited. Either way. Hey, I'm not going to kink shame the guy.
Hey, we love black guns.
There you go.
So anyway, well, I'll tell you, we are coming up. Oh, wait a second. I'm fairly certain Pornhub, this JB, has an anti-gun policy. Could be.
Really?
Don't know. I have no clue. Why don't you find out, Mike?
You could be with anybody's daughter and a moose and 27 midgets, but guns are out. Well, yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Curious how you know that.
You can tell that my keyword search is, but yeah, there you
go. All right. Well, like I said, we're coming up on quarter after the hour. Let's do a quick two ad break. Then we'll come back. We'll introduce Badass of the Week, and then from there we'll close her out probably.
And I'll have a prequel here before the commercials. So hold on a second.
Brother, hey, can you get my demo tape to somebody?
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308. 701-258-6308. Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Experience the exhilaration of power in your hands at Bloodline Kinetics. Why Cerakote? Simply, it aids in firearm preservation while also giving your piece a unique look. Barrel threading, NFA laser engraving, bolt handle threading, mount, level, and bore, sight scope chamber, rebarreling, and much more. Bloodline Kinetics is meant to reflect a long American lineage in gun ownership, who stand for the Second Amendment rights, Bloodline, and the science behind gun accuracy, Kinetics. To some, it's just a constitutional right that can go away. To us, it's in our American bloodline, and we believe it should stay that way. Here at Bloodline Kinetics, we understand that hunters, sportsmen, women, and gun owners should have a quality firearm. Stop and see us at 2008 Morrison Avenue 2 in Bismarck, North Dakota, 58504, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 701-390-7997. Visit our website, bloodlinekinetics.com.
All right, we are back, and I believe we lost Vance, didn't we?
Oh, we did. He got frozen out. So
he was frozen out, so we lost Vance. But hey, if he's able to chime back in, he'll try to get on. Otherwise, thank you, Vance, and we'll talk later to you. Hey, I've had that same problem, haven't I? Where boom, the internet's gone. So, all right. Well, with that, it is Mike's segment coming up. Again, we want to thank our sponsors, Lauer Auto Repair and Bloodline Kinetics. We can't do it without great sponsors like them. And, of course, Mandan Sporting Goods, brand new location coming up, everybody. Brand spanking new.
Yep.
I drove by there today, and it looks like they're getting pretty moved in there. That will be Mandan Sporting Goods, 206 4th Avenue Northwest, Mandan, North Dakota. If you don't know where that is, you just go to Runnings right there on Main. You hang a left, which will be north at 4th Avenue, and they're literally just up the street, about a block and a half, I guess it is. So, Mandan Sporting Goods, brand new address, 206 4th Avenue Northwest, and that's in Mandan, North Dakota. Tell them you heard it on Guns on the 701. I bet you Brandon, he'll take care of you. So,
yep.
Oh, all right. Oh, we got you?
Yeah, I thought one of us froze there.
What the heck? Well, I guess with no ado, take it, Mike, with the badass of the week. Hey, we can only see like half your head.
Oh, yeah, my camera is a little silly today. So I had a guy in here working on my internet, so my thing's got a little screwed up. But there we go.
All right.
Sometimes the face is not what you don't want to see. If we do the OnlyFans thing, then it's only going to be from the neck down anyway. So we'll go for that. Well, you know, I always talk about wanting to do different things for Badass, and I've done a lot of World War II. We're going to do that here. I got some good ones coming up down the road, down the pipe. I kind of threw this and went together at the last minute. I had a bunch banked, and then we got busy. So it introduces it in it. By the way, we're looking for sponsors for the Badass of the Week, and we got details on that. guns@gunsandthe701.com. You can email us if you're interested or know somebody that might be interested. gunsandthe701.com. Yeah, you know, it's the website you're watching.
Yeah.
So make sure you do that, of course. Yeah, I know I'll get it right someday. So, but yeah, our Badass of the Week here, real quick. We have Nancy Wake. So if you want to fire that off for me, real quick,
I can do that. And I may have a sponsor for this. Well, I guess I got to talk to them yet here probably this week. But all right, Badass of the Week by Mr. Mike Deacon, Mike Bobcat Kelly Deacons. Right?
There we go. There we go.
Hey everybody, it's Mike for GunsInThe701.com's Badass of the Week. That's right, every week we bring you a new and exciting badass of history. This week we're covering what they like to call the softer side of the species, the female. Nancy Wake. She may have been beautiful, she may have been soft, but at the same time, she was deadly. Born in Roseneath, Wellington, New Zealand, on 30th of August, 1912, Wake was the youngest of 6 children. She was a Maori through her great-grandmother. In 1914, her family moved to Australia and settled at North Sydney. Shortly thereafter, her father, Charles Augustus Wake, returned to New Zealand, and her mother, Ella Wake, raised the children on her own. In Sydney, Wake attended the North Sydney Household Arts Home Science School. At the age of 16, she ran away and worked as a nurse. With 200 pounds in her pocket that she inherited from her aunt, she journeyed to New York City, then London, and there she trained herself as a journalist. In the 1930s, she worked in Paris and later for Hearst newspapers as a European correspondent. Now, she witnessed the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi movement and saw the roving Nazi gangs randomly beating up Jewish men and women in the streets of Vienna. In 1937, Wake met wealthy French industrialist Henry Edmond Fiocca, whom she married on the 30th of November, 1939. Now, she was living in Marseille, France, when Germany invaded. Now, during the war in France, Wake served as an ambulance driver. After the fall of France in 1940, she joined the escape network of Captain Ian Garrow, which became the Pat O'Leary Line. Now, the Gestapo called her the White Mouse, because they were good at downplaying the fact that she was killing all of them. Anyway, I don't know. Could have given her something a little better than that, but oh well. The resistance exercised caution with her missions. Her life was in constant danger, with the Gestapo tapping her telephones and intercepting her mail. In November of 1942, the Wehrmacht troops occupied Vichy, France. In case you don't know, Vichy, France means the French that capitulated to the Nazis and helped them. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to spit in French. Mon Dieu. Now, Operation Torch started then. This gave the Germans and the Gestapo unrestricted access to all parts of Vichy, France, and made life more dangerous for Wake. When the network was betrayed that same year, she decided to flee France. Her husband, Henry Fiocca, I'll never get his name right, but there we go. He stayed behind. Now, he was later captured, tortured, and executed by the Gestapo, but during the entire war, Nancy didn't know this. Now, Wake described her tactics as a little powder and a little drink on the way, and I'd pass their German post and wink and say, "Do you want to search me?" God, what a flirtatious little bastard I was. That was her talking, by the way. Now, in early 1943, in the process of getting out of France, Wake was picked up with a whole trainload of people and was arrested in Toulouse, but was released 4 days later. Now, the head of the O'Leary line, Albert Girassi, he managed to have her released by claiming she was his mistress and was trying to conceal her infidelity to her husband, all of which was untrue. Now, she succeeded in crossing the Pyrenees to Spain, and until the end of the war, she was unaware her husband's death, which she subsequently blamed herself for. Now, most of the operations of Wake's SOE, or the Special Operations Executive, we'll just say SOE from now on, were in or near LAUER Department. Now, after reaching Britain, Wake joined the Special Operations Executives, or SOE, a British organization formed in the 1940s to conduct espionage, sabotage, and reconnaissance in German-occupied Europe and to aid local resistance movements. And she was trained in several programs. Vera Atkins, who was the senior female in the SOE overseeing the agents going into France, recalls her as a real Australian bombshell. Tremendous vitality, flashing eyes. Everything she did well. Training reports record that she was very good and a very fast shot and possessed excellent fieldcraft. She was noted to put men to shame by her cheerful spirit and strength of character. Now, on the 29th through the 30th of April 1944, as part of a 3-person freelance team headed by John Hind Farmer, codenamed Herbert, Wake parachuted into Aveyron province in France. Resistance leader Henry Tardivat discovered Wake tangled in a tree. He remarked, "Hope that all the trees in France bear such beautiful fruits this year." To which she replied, cut out that bullshit and get me out of this damn tree. Dennis Rake, a radio operator, was the third member of the team. Now, the team was to be a liaison between London and the local Marquise group, or French Resistance, headed by Emile Collandon, codenamed Gaspard. Now, SOE began sending large amounts of arms, equipment, and money. No word if they sent lawyers. Wake's duties were pinpointing locations at which the materials and monies were parachuted in, collecting it, allocating it among Marquise, including pay to individual soldiers. Wake carried with her a list of the targets the Marquise were to destroy before the invasion of France by the Allies, which would take place on June 6. Now, the destruction of communication lines and other facilities throughout France would hinder German response to the invasion. Now, the reach of the Marquise exceeded their grasp. On May 20th, Callandon, or known as Gaspard, declared a general mobilization of resistance fighters, collecting in total about 7,000 men divided into 3 groups. His objective was to demonstrate that the resistance was able to liberate areas from the Germans with its own forces. On June 2nd, the Germans launched a probing attack on Gaspard's base at Mount Monchet. On the 10th of June, the Germans launched a larger attack, and on the 20th of June encircled Gaspard's position and forced the resistance fighters to flee after taking heavy casualties. Wake and the members of her team accompanied groups of the Marquise in a 3-day, 150-kilometer retreat westward to the village of Saint-Satin. I know I butchered that in French, and I don't care. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. During the flight from the Germans, Rake, the radio operator, left his radio equipment and codes behind. You would think that would be the first thing he would grab, but the SOE team needed to be in contact with London. Now, the nearest SOE radio and operator were in Châteauroux. Wake said that she borrowed a bicycle and rode it to Châteauroux, found a radio nearby, updated London on the situation, and then bicycled back to Saint-Satin, traveling 500 kilometers in 72 hours. Fortunately for her, there were few Germans in the area through which she had bicycled. Now, after her bicycle ride, the freelance team, with another recent arrival named Roger, a 19-year-old American Marine, returned to Allier Department to join the resistance groups of Henry Tardevant, who was the guy who discovered her tangled in the tree. In July, 2 more Americans, Reeve Shiley and John DeCoven Alsop, they joined the team as instructors. Neither spoke much French, and Shealy was nearly blind, if not wearing his thick lens eyeglasses. But he actually impressed the Marquis with his immaculately tailored military uniform. Both proved to be effective instructors. Now, Wake said that she and Tardevant initiated a series of attacks on German convoys and fought off an attack on their camp by the Germans, in which 7 French Marquis were killed. Her principal job, however, continued to be to organize the reception and distribution of arms and materials for the resistance groups, which was parachuted into Allier nearly every other night. Wake claimed that she participated in the raids that destroyed a Gestapo headquarters in Montluchon, killing 38 Germans. At one point, Wake said she discovered that the men were using 3 girls as prostitutes and mistreating them. Now, she coerced the Marquise to release the women, to whom she provided a wash and new clothes. Now, Nancy Wake set 2 of the girls free, but feeling uneasy about the 3rd, she suspected the 3rd girl was a German spy. After interrogating and exposing her, Wake ordered the resistance group to shoot the informer. They did not have the heart to kill her in cold blood. But when Wake insisted that she would have performed the execution, they capitulated. Nancy Wake claimed that the girl spy spat at the French while facing the firing squad. Wake showed no regrets for the execution. Wake also said that she had killed an SS sentry with her bare hands to prevent him from raising the alarm during a raid. During the 1990s television interview, when asked what had happened to the sentry who spotted her, Wake simply drew her finger across her throat. They taught this judo chop stuff with the flat of the hand at SOE, and I practiced away at it, but this was the only time that I used it. Whack! And it killed him almost outright. She said even I was surprised. After the invasion of southern France by the American military forces on August 15th, the resistance groups harried the retreating Germans. Her friends, Tardivat, was badly wounded and would lose a leg to amputation during the victory celebration in Vichy. Wake learned of the death of her husband in mid-September, and she and other members of the freelance team, their job complete, returned to Great Britain. Now, Nancy Wake did not like killing people, but in wartime, she once told an interviewer, and quote, "I don't see why women should just wave our men a proud goodbye and then sit around knitting them baklavas," unquote. In another quote, Wake said, "I was not a very nice person, and it did not put me off my breakfast." In another quote, she said, "I was never afraid. I was too busy to be afraid." Immediately after the war, she was awarded the George Medal, the United States Medal of Freedom, the Medal de la Résistance, and thrice the Croix de Guerre. Now, she worked for the intelligence department at the British Air Ministry attached to the embassies in Paris and Prague. Wake left Australia and moved back to England. She worked as an intelligence officer in the department of the Assistant Chief of the Air Staff of the Air Ministry in Whitehall. She resigned in 1957 after marrying an RAF officer, John Ford, in December of that year. They relocated to Australia in early 1960s, maintaining her interest in politics. Wake was endorsed as a candidate at the 1966 federal elections for the Sydney seat of Kingsford Smith, and despite recording a swing of 6.9% against the sitting Labour member, Wake was again unsuccessful. Around 1985, Wake and John Ford left Sydney to retire to Port Macquarie. In 1985, Wake published her autobiography, The White Mouse. Later, after 40 years of marriage, her second husband, John Ford, died at Port Macquarie on the 19th of August in 1997. The couple had no children. Now, she had sold her medals to fund herself, saying, "There was no point in keeping them. I'll probably just go to hell and they'll melt anyway." In 2001, Wake left Australia for the last time and immigrated to London. In 2003, Wake chose to move to the Royal Star and Garter Home for Disabled Ex-Service Men and Women in Richmond, London, where she remained until her death. Wake died on August 7th, 2011 at the age of 98 at Kingston Hospital after being admitted with a chest infection. She had requested that her ashes be scattered at Montlucon in central France. Her ashes were scattered near the village of Vernix, which is near that location, on the 11th of March 2013. She is the inspiration for many female protagonists written in both spy movies and more. Nancy Wake didn't want to just sit around and knit. She wanted to be part of the action. She wanted to have her hands dirty, and she did exactly that. And Nancy Wake is a true 100% badass. Thanks for tuning in to our weekly Badass of the Week right here on GunsInThe701.com. Every week we try to give you a new badass, and we always like to have your suggestions if you got someone in history that deserves that status. You can contact us at guns@GunsInThe701.com. And if you're feeling rather benevolent and would like to spare a little change, I know it's tough nowadays, but we always like to keep our equipment up to date, improve our studios and more, and have all kinds of new stuff for everybody. Well, you can drop us a line, of course, at that little QR code up in the corner to help us move along. You can also head over to GunsInThe701.com and check out our store for all kinds of cool items that will look good on anybody. And check our back catalog of Guns in the 701 episodes, 701 Nation, and of course, our Badass of the Week. Until next week on GunsInThe701.com, I'm Mike, reminding you what my buddy Clay always says: keep your powder dry and stay safe, you bunch of badasses.
Hey.
All right.
All righty. How'd that go?
Are we back?
We're back.
I thought that was great, Mike. Again, nice job.
Yeah, she was pretty kick-ass. I mean, I still like the whole, they trained us over and over again how to do the karate chop thing or the judo chop. I says, I'd probably break my hand on somebody and everything, but they trained. I mean, she went through a lot of stuff, and she was pivotal for the resistance and the basically getting people in and out of Vichy, France, for supplying the resistance and whatnot. So, we talk about some of the people in history that don't always get all the movies done about them, but she's pretty kick-ass.
No, I thought that was a great one. I really did. I thought it was a very, very good segment yet again, Mike. I know sometimes you don't think you do a great job, but I know you do it. David says it's epic. He thought it was great. So,
Thanks, David. Appreciate that.
And we only got half your head again, though.
Oh, shoot, this damn thing. I got to retape this. Like I said,
Anyway.
OnlyFans, you only need from the neck down.
There you go. There you go. But no, another great segment. And so we will try to get that. I'm going to try to find out exactly what's going on with Facist-book here. I don't know if I'll do it tonight. I'll definitely work on it tomorrow, possibly. I imagine it's just a login or something expired. Who knows? With that stuff, but we'll try to get that. And I think what we're going to try to do, Mike, we talked about this, the badass segments. I think we're going to try to make those so they automatically will come on later on, maybe, I don't know, tomorrow, the next day, whenever, so that they will go into the rotation and be their own separate deal. So I don't have to upload them.
Right.
And you'll just be able to find them. And on CommieTube, you can find it on your Badass of the Week playlist. Unfortunately, Rumble does not have playlists yet, at least not at our level. I don't. Maybe if you have a paid subscription, I don't know, but I do not. We do not have that, so we don't have enough people there. David Zinger, you're right, David. Says you could easily do a series on just World War II badasses. That is so true. I mean, Enemy at the Gate. That was the movie done about the. That was the guy trying to hunt down the Russian sniper, and then
that was a good one.
They sent one after him. Ed Harris played him. That was a great show.
I love that movie. That's a great movie. Oh, it's a
great
fantastic movie.
The Fighting Sullivans. That's an older one, but yeah. Anyway, so I don't have a whole lot of other things that we're getting past. I like to keep these an hour and a half.
Right.
And one thing I will say is, don't forget tomorrow night. And I got to read this correctly. We got Jamie. He's going to be on with Wyatt, and they're going to be talking UTV reviews. Wyatt's been in the market for a new one.
Right.
So you'll want to tune in. He gave me kind of a sneak info on that today, but I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. And I tend to agree, although I'm still a fan of a Kawasaki mule. I can tell you that. They're very well built. So 701 Nation tomorrow night, 7:00 p.m. Mountain, 8:00 Central. You're going to want to tune in, and they're going to be talking some other things, but they're going to hit on the UTVs for sure.
Summertime, or summer hours.
Absolutely. And again, he's brand new. I want to put a plug in again here for Little Angry Man Arms. And you're going to want to go and check this out. Oh, we lost our notes. Oh, they're not there no more.
That's weird.
Trail City, and you can find him at littleangrymanarms.com. That's his website, I believe. So go check that out. And I think you're going to be pleased. He's got a lot of great stuff too. Again, we love having new sponsors, and we're glad to have the gun community supporting us. I mean, isn't that what this is about that way?
That is.
So thanks again to John and Little Angry Man Arms. Now, granted, he's at the level where we'll be doing this once we get going here, once during the show, but we never want to say no, and we love having our sponsors.
Right.
When we appreciate them, can't do it. So now that makes 3 gun companies, guys.
There we go. Yeah.
So very happy with that. And we lost Vance, and so Jamie sent me this, and I made a little meme with it. Vance was put on ice. On 701.com. Put him right on ice. Yeah, got to mess around with this equipment being we got it. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot of announcements. We're going to be on this Friday with Mike.
Right. We'll be over there with Mitch or Mitchell in the morning. So on KFYR. So
8:40 Central, 7:40 Mountain. We got a lot of things that you and I have actually bounced around. I don't know. I thought about still maybe doing some primary recap just briefly on.
I don't think that's a bad idea because it's very topical for right now. I want to talk about the off-duty Atlanta police officer that shot the convicted felon who opened fire in a food court. That's one of the ones we want to talk about.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know if I told you. I think I did. When I was down there in Atlanta in February, I walked past that area, that Centennial Olympic Park area, right downtown, and I was like, oh, I looked it up. I'm like, heck, I thought that looked familiar when I saw something. I walked right by that area. So Yeah, I guess it can get rough there.
Yeah.
But
Next week, we're going to talk a little about the inclusion training I had to go through
yeah.
for church camp that my son's going to. So that'll be fun. We'll have a good one with that. But we'll have some other good things to talk about. And we're coming up on our 100th episode in 2 more episodes.
That's the big thing. 2 more episodes. So what does that put us at? So we got 98 tonight.
We're 98 tonight.
So we're looking at June 26th. June 26th, everybody.
Right.
That's when we will have something from Bloodline Kinetics. Well, you and I got to discuss how we're going to do it.
Right.
And you're going to be able to win basically a credit or a certificate to Bloodline Kinetics. I got to look at the details on it again, but it's basically for barrel threading. And he does a great job. When I was up there here last Friday with them guys doing some prairie dog shooting, had a good time with Leighton and the boys and Axe, and we had a great time. I dropped off a gun with Jacob, and he, I went to my sponsor, and he did a good job with it. So I actually took the gun out when I got home. My 270 is what I had done. Oh yeah, I'm gonna like that. I should have done that years ago, and just to see. I will tell you, I was actually surprised with the 130 grainer that it did have about a 3-inch lower drop at 325 yards. I was surprised. At 100 yards, it was flat right where it should be.
Right.
And the gun was sighted in, so I know that wasn't the problem. So I did have to actually adjust it for going out there longer distance. So, hey, not a big deal. I'll take that. I know how to shoot that gun, so it doesn't bother me. And I got 2 brand new targets, one at 500 and one at 700. So now I'm really going to stretch some legs and see.
There we go.
See how things work. But with that, that's about it. You got anything else you want to bring up?
No, we're all good on that.
Bases.
We'll be there. Of course, Jamie on tomorrow night, and then we'll be on Mitchell in the Morning KFYR on Friday.
Yep.
The next weekend, I will be here Wednesday. Friday, I'm going to be in Yankton for the Grand Communication for the Masons. The Grand Lodge is having their big thing, so I'm a big poobah in that thing. So I gotta be there. Working on trying to bank a few of our badasses of the week down so that we'll have them for when we got some extra stuff. And now I got this computer. I got to tell you,
I love it, don't you?
Give it up to Clay for helping me get this new computer in my studio down here, because I just got a new double internet connection in here now, and it's working excellent. And so it's been a lot easier to do the show when things don't lag. We got to do the same thing for Vance, I think, because he gave him a better line. But yeah,
I don't know what was going on down there, but we'll have to visit with him. So,
right.
Well, with that, then Vance usually does this, but I'm going to end the show then with a prayer. I know sometimes I've forgotten that, but I just in today's world, I think we really need to do that. Just one quick thing: David Fedding, 1760 Sports. He says, that's a point of impact shift. He says, no worries, just note it with and without your suppressor, and that's kind of what I figured it would be. He says, I have a rifle without. It's 6 inches high and 2 to the left at 100. And he says, that one's terrible. So mine's not that bad. And I know exactly now, and I'll shoot that to some other targets. I'll find out where that point of impact is. Not a big deal to me. I mean, that's my deer rifle. That's my go-to. And a lot of times I'm not shooting over 300. Usually my shots are around 100, 150, which is nice because guess what? I'm on my own land and I don't have to compete with everybody.
That's right. That's right.
All right, with that, let's end the night with a prayer. Lord, we'd like to thank you for the beautiful weather and the rain that you've been giving us pretty much widespread throughout our 2 states so that it can nourish our crops, nourish our pastures, so that we can actually have nourishment for our bodies so that we can serve you. We want to ask you to watch over the men and women that protect this country each and every day. And we also like to put in a special prayer. We had our primary elections and we got generals coming up. Please make it so that we put the right people in the office so that our Christian republic will withstand and keep going on as you desire. We ask this in your name, that you will bless us and watch over us and have us do your will. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, guys. Well, with that, we're going to cap the show for tonight. We appreciate everybody tuning in, and I realize it's a beautiful evening and a beautiful day, so there weren't near as many. And I think with Fascist-book being down, I think we lost some people. Not a big deal. We'll try to get that fixed and find out what's going on. But thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it for sure. And don't forget, tomorrow night, G&T701 Nation. He's going to have Wyatt on talking UTVs, 8 o'clock p.m. Central, 7 o'clock Mountain. Don't want to miss it, guys. Another great episode of 701 Nation coming your way.
Yep.
With that, everybody, keep your powder dry, and we'll see you again on Friday morning, KFYR 5:50 a.m.